Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and my pleasure to introduce one of the greatest dodgeball players of the past decade. He was ranked number fourth of the top 12 players. Some folks said that shouldn't have been the case, or may had a heart-to-heart conversation online and offline. He was like, Judy, I respect you, but I feel like I should have been number three after some really hard consideration. I was like, you know what? I think my man is right. He have a very good argument. My man, Michael Riley, also known as Conor McGregor, except taller and stronger in the flesh, representing CMU, the Chippewappers. Mike, what's good, man?
What's going on, Shia? I appreciate the introduction, man. Number two, by the way, on that list. Number two, by the way.
Number two on the list.
We're going to bump me up one, yeah.
You know what? I don't really have much room to talk because, in comparison to some of the greats, I was just a strategist, man. I was in the background, mixing plays here and there, but I was on the front line. So if you believe that you're number two, I'll give you number two, man. It is what it is.
Brandon and I had a little conversation. Number two. Yeah. Had a little conversation with B. We talked about it. We know.
Oh my God! This man is having conversation with everybody, man.
Oh, I was happy. That list needed to be sorted out.
All right, so for folks who don't know what I'm talking about or have absolutely no idea who this man is, he played for the National Collegiate Dodgeball Association. He was one of the top players of Central Michigan University who won a championship 2011, and who was also responsible for making sure that they had, I believe it was either 4 or 5 consecutive championship games, the Nationals, 4. So this man was responsible for a lot of great work. At his dodgeball IQ is off the charts. His throwing abilities, catching abilities, is second to none. So this man is a force to be reckoned with. You don't know who he is. We'll at some point, if not within this interview, but in the near future, we'll put up a little promo video to show you some of the work he's been doing, not only for his collegiate level, but also when he was playing for elite dodgeball. We're still trying to get past the USA Premier Tour. That's a mouthful, but we're still getting through that. But Mike,
version.
I know, man. It's a man, but
it really is, yeah.
Yeah, but Mike, I just want to say, thanks for being on the broadcast. And first of all, just kind of introduce folks, who you are and, how you got started on this game called Dodgeball.
Yeah, so thank you for the well-complimentary introduction. A lot of the success of the team is not only attributed to me, but a lot of the players in the background as well. I definitely don't hold the success of the 4 years there. But let's see. How I got introduced to dodgeball. So my origin story, I think, is actually slightly poetic, and I like to tell it as such. So I went to Central to play baseball. I was dismissed from the team my freshman year.
Oh wow!
I was academically dismissed because I was a. Can I swear on here? Is that no?
I mean, listen, man. Listen, I'll do the editing, man. So if you feel like you need to drop some cursing, we'll definitely do that. We'll bleep it out later, man.
I'll keep it to a minimum. So I was really around my freshman year, and I was academically dismissed and from the baseball team. And then so I was just like kind of looking for an outlet in my own, right? Because I still wanted to throw. I was a player at heart, and I lived in the dorms. And as I was trying to take the elevator up to my dorm, a flyer fell off the wall. I swear to God, it's crazy. And I go to pick the flyer up, and it was a club dodgeball flyer. So I was like, oh, I'll put it back on the wall. No, I'll be a good Samaritan. And I'm looking at it like, that'd be kind of fun. Like gym class, I like to play in high school, blah, blah, blah. So I went, and the rest is history. That's how my start began. And when I joined Wes Peters, everybody knows, and Brett Hadman, we're on the team and kind of like my pioneer leaders of facilitating me into a dodgeball player and kind of giving my bearings. And I think I've said it before. I think those two were pivotal in my come up of Brett was very energetic and passionate and hype about it, and Wes was, as you know, very strategic and calculated in talking about the game. And I think I kind of got those attributes from both those people and just continued forward.
Oh my goodness. Talk about the Lord's gift, man. A former baseball player who was supposed to be playing D1 baseball at Central Michigan
Don't remind me.
somehow got academically suspended,
Oh
and
yeah,
then the rest
dismissed.
dismissed.
Dismissed. Not they were very clear it was not a suspension. They were very clear.
Oh, there was oh wow,
Oh
okay.
yeah, I asked.
Oh, well, Mike, one thing I will say about you is, you always keep it 100. You're definitely one of the very few people, at least in my humble opinion, within the dodgeball community. He's going to tell you as it is. He ain't going to try to do all this,
Keep it a buck.
Facebook, Twitter, bickering words. If he likes you, he likes you. If he doesn't, he going to let you know. And it's not going to be how I'm saying it. There's probably going to be a couple of expletive word that's going to be dropped here and there while he's trying to throw a ball at your head. That's just how it works.
It's all in good fun.
Wow, but wow, from baseball to one of the greatest Chippewappers of the past decade, and a strong conversation of the GOATs as well. Now, I'm not going to disrespect the 2011 team. I'm pretty sure they will have something to say, and I'm pretty sure they will judge you accordingly. That's their place. It's not my place. I can
It was a good
only,
team.
yeah, that was a really solid
It was a
team.
good team.
That was, yeah, I heard war stories about that team that it was just stack on stack on stack. But yeah, I remember meeting you. I want to say, I think it was Kent State Summer Dodgeball
Yeah,
2013.
I think so, man.
Yeah, and that was during the time period. Wes was just simply known as a catcher.
Hmm.
Folks didn't believe that he had an arm, and arguably
Some still
became
don't.
what. Yeah, some still don't. I mean, I know otherwise. I know otherwise. Man, been putting in a lot of hard work, and I just remember you. Just a freshman, hence the joke. Folks still calling you freshman. I don't know why.
I know. Layla calls me freshman all the time. Yeah.
Well, I mean that's okay. Layla's good people, man. That's a
Oh,
different
absolutely.
story. Now,
Absolutely.
if some of the current teammates or some of the current people on seeing you call you a freshman, you're like, whoa, buddy, like
Yeah. You didn't earn
we
that
don't
one. You didn't earn that name.
right, like
That's
you don't
history
know
behind that name. Yeah.
right, you don't know me like that. But
Exactly.
I just remember you back then. I was like, yo, like this guy, he's stocky, but this
I was
guy got a
skinny
lot.
back then. I was skinny back
I
then, Shadid. I was super
I,
skinny.
I know, and a lot of people don't know that. Like they see
I
you now,
know.
like this guy's jacked, not doing steroids, by the way, not like all
Maybe.
clean. Oh,
No, I'm just
always.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm about to say you're always about to give us a little bit of dirt already, but I didn't ask for any of this. Oh my
If I was
god.
doing steroids, I'd be a lot bigger than this.
This is true. This is very
Hmm.
true. Um, but yeah, just a skinny guy back then, but still have really good potential. Throwing wise, catching wise. I just felt like the game at that time wasn't fully developed, and I feel like for a lot of us, when we first get started, the game wasn't fully developed. But I was like, this kid got a lot of promise. Whew, a
Yeah,
lot of
I think
promise.
my freshman year, I kind of look back on it sometimes and I don't know, just kind of in awe that I truly didn't understand the game. Like I was just playing dodgeball right to play. I didn't really understand why I was doing some things. I think kind of how a lot of people play it now, unfortunately, is you're just existing as an athlete rather than understanding why you're doing certain things. And that's like the number one thing I like to preach to people whenever I get preachy on dodgeball is let's understand our decision making here. The entire game of dodgeball in any sport really is just risk assessment of what percent chance do I have to succeed, what percent chance do I have to fail, is the payout worth the risk? And I didn't understand any of that. Probably for most of my career, I think I gradually understood it as I became better and better and better. And I think I don't think I got more athletic or I got more my catching ability or throwing ability. Like I don't think that is what kind of propelled me into success. I think it was more so understanding of the game. And I think that'll propel any team and any certain player into into the next level is work on your understanding of the sport just as much as you work on your throw or your catching, and you'd see dividends more than I think the aforementioned.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly because I remember, back then, just watching clips of you. I'm like, dude, like this guy is an athlete, and I just feel like for a lot of like great players when they first get started, they just like using their athletic ability. They're just running on instinct. They see
Hmm.
somebody in front of them to try to knock them down, hit them in the face, or they can make an athletic play. They can try to make a catch, but I feel like as they get older, they get wiser. They're like, hey, there's more ways of how we can do this, and we can make it easier for ourselves. And
Hmm.
and I really saw that, and I was like, wow, like this kid is special. Like he went from a lot of potential to special. I
I
know
appreciate
that we.
that.
Oh no, no doubt, man. That's real talk, man. I remember, and you know this way better than me. Again, in my humble opinion, I felt like, in my eyes,
Hmm.
at least sophomore year. Now, again, I
Hmm.
might be wrong. I'm pretty sure some people, once they see that, they're going to have strong opinions. But I want to say at least your sophomore year, definitely your third year in college, you was the best player on your team, without question. But your
Sophomore
cat,
year, huh?
but and that's why I said some people might say like, wait a minute, hold up,
Hmm.
Shadi, hold up, pause. But I would definitely say junior year for sure, your third year for sure. But the captains did not feel like, hey, he deserved to have a C across his chest. Um,
Yeah,
and you
that was a tumultuous time in the club.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
yeah, that had a lot of earthquakes, right? So
yeah. I mean, so whatever you feel comfortable, sharing, during that time period, you can let us
yeah,
know like some of the things y'all had to go through.
so let's see. So I took 5.5, right? So my senior and junior year kind of spaced out differently. Um, Shout out to victory lap takers, appreciate y'all. So my sophomore year, I don't think I was the best player on the team. I was still developing. Not only that's kind of like when I started working out too, my sophomore year. So I was still developing not only athletically but also just understanding of the game. And also, fun fact, most people know this. I didn't go to CMU for some of my sophomore year. I I allegedly no, not allegedly. I was not eligible to play, but I played anyway. And that was before we kind of had rigorous roster checks.
Jesus,
Yeah,
Jesus, Mike.
so I just a quick little background, right? My second half of sophomore year, I left school. I left Central to go back and do community college because I was up at Central like a moron academically, and so I left to pause basically my Central education. Went home, fixed some classes that I already messed up at in community college. So for second half of sophomore and first half of junior, I never went to Central, but I still played on the team. So, but I don't think I was the best player on the team at that point. I do agree, though, when I came back, that I think I was, at least in my head, the best player from then on out. But it wasn't by like a wide margin. We had a very talented team throughout my career. At all points, we were stacked with talent. We were very blessed in that manner. So I don't think I was like ever the best arm or the best catcher or the most I don't know the most dominant in one aspect in any sort of manner. I mean, we had God, it's hard to just run down the names of the players we had. I mean, we had Chris Kohler who had a cannon. We had, I mean, Ian Ryan had a cannon. Shane had a great arm. Alex had a great arm. Like we had all of these players um, who were individually great in terms of athletic abilities. I think where I thought I was the best player is I was the most complete package. Uh, I think that's if you combine every attribute, that's where I felt I was number one. And people will contrast that, and I really don't care. I don't value a lot of people's other opinion. I think I have a very good self perspective of where I was. Um, I don't know. They bleeped that part out of the interview. That sounded a little condescending.
I mean, listen, man. I mean, I can do the editing, for you. I can let you know, like,
I don't
hey,
know.
man,
Be
what,
leave it real. I don't care. I don't care. But
we'll,
I didn't even
we'll,
answer
we'll
your question. the question was like what was going on at that time, right? So I think the big shakeup was during my senior year, right? My fourth year, was the captain vote, right? And that's the one where I expected to kind of be captain. That was the point where I was far and away, I think, the smartest player and exhibited the most amount of leadership, at least leadership in terms of where I think needed to be for club success. And I kind of expected to win, and I was really thrown off that I didn't. And as the league knows, and you know, Shane and Zach won. Great players in their own right, and I didn't think like they were not fit to be captain. I just thought I was a better choice, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so that kind of put like a rift in the club, whether it be subtle or vocal. Of it was I was at a point in the game where I didn't think what they wanted to do was the correct thing to do, but they were in leadership, right? So you reach kind of an internal conflict of do I listen to leadership, which I don't agree with, or do I do my own thing and try to pioneer success in kind of the path I see to be, I don't know, the best choice. And I very, very often took my own path. And it just, I don't know, it created, I would say, a level of discord on the court. Probably, I probably could have, I don't know, sewn that adhesion a little better and made us one unit. Obviously, we never won, so there was something we could have done better there. But that was definitely like a really tumultuous time. Just even in practices of like small things, we push back. I'd be like, no, let's get up, let's push. Be like push back, and then there'd just be like conflicting things being said, right? So it just creates kind of not the same continuity amongst the team. People are a little lost, and I think it showed. Sometimes if you watch our film back, it'll show. You can see kind of lapses of decisions of certainty of what to do, and that was a problem. Definitely a problem.
Well, I mean, I definitely know, and I can definitely speak from personal experience when I want to say like within the second year of VCU, I decided to step down from captain because I knew I needed to help somebody else out,
Hmm.
make sure that the path was going forward. But then I learned very quickly, like, hey, like I don't necessarily agree with the decisions that's being made,
Hmm.
and again, as you're saying, like the internal conflict that you currently go in your head. And I definitely know one thing about the NCDA: if y'all, well, I mean y'all, I mean like everybody on the team, if everyone's
Hmm.
not on the same page, it doesn't matter if back then 14 out of the 15 is on the same page, or now 11 out of 12 is on the same page. If you got one person that's like, dude, like I do not
Hmm.
like what y'all doing, then it's going to throw everything off. And I can really, like, I want to say thank you, for your honesty, because I can really appreciate the inner dilemma that you have. Like, hey, like, do I do my own thing and then try to fit within the system, for our success, or am I going to try to fall in line, to not be, a nuisance? And I
Yep.
mean, that's a real struggle. And I do believe, some of the best players in the world. Michael Jordan is a prime example. Very stubborn, very very stubborn, very competitive, and
Oh yeah.
he even had conflict. I mean, like we're about to see the last season of the Bulls. I think later on this month, and they're going to talk about the
Hmm.
conflict. Now,
Yep.
now, I just want everyone to know that team won 72 games out of 82. So they only lost 10 times. So you say to yourself, like, dude, they won their sixth championship, one of the best records in the league, and they won a championship. Where's the conflict? Oh no, there's always
Hmm.
conflict. So,
Yeah, sure.
but but one thing that I definitely noticed over the years, one, you don't make excuses, which shows the type of man that you are. You acknowledge something, you own it. You don't try to run away from it. Two, it takes a lot of courage for a man to be like, hey, you know what? I dropped the ball. I'm going to do better about it. A lot of people, they have no problem pointing fingers to other people, but when they have to look within themselves, like, hey, you know what? I was part of the problem. I need to do something about that. That's really commendable. And three, I can definitely see the maturity over the years when you're at Central Michigan. I know a lot of people
I
going to,
think three hits a lot with people.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people now who don't know you, and I'm going to put that key phrase, do not know you.
Hmm.
They just see you like, oh, this guy is brash, he's arrogant, he's cocky, he
That's
got,
fair. That's fair judgment. It's fair
you,
judgment. Yeah.
he got a flair, about himself and everything. And I'm just like, listen, like, you just seen an outer surface of him from the 5 years, 5.5 years of development that it took for him to get to this point. But you don't see, the character, behind the man. And speaking about, inner character behind the man, one of your, favorite fighters. In fact, probably one of the people that you actually model your game
Wonder
after.
who it's gonna be.
Oh, I mean, like I said, if folks been paying attention, Conor McGregor, the
Yeah.
Irish, the Irish Fire, the brawler. Um, Tell me the significance of, why he's your guy, and yeah, just let
So I wanna
folks.
I wanna touch on a couple things though, right? So one and two, dealing with accountability and kind of responsible for your actions and stuff like that, right? Um, and then three, the maturity over the years, and then I'll touch on Conor McGregor as well,
Sure.
because I think there's interesting things there. So I think for one and two about the accountability and personal responsibility, I think both in life and in the facet of a club that I was serving of captainship, right? You have a responsibility there to other people, and I think that is the priority. So no matter what was happening in the club aspect, right? The only goal that is my responsibility is to improve, and that improvement doesn't play favorites, and it doesn't see through like a lens of, I don't know, pride or ego or anything like that, right? It just is, how can we win more? How can we win more efficient? How can we do better? How can we improve? Right? All of these things. And so to say it's like I messed up here, I need to get better is not like let me take it on. It was like that's just an honest analysis of what happened, right? If it was your fault, I would tell you all the same, you need to get better at this. Like, why were you here? Don't make this decision. Or protect him, make a better decision here. Or like I should have been here. Like it doesn't matter of it was me, it was you, it was him. It was like this is a club, right? This is an
Right.
entity of a club. As a club, we own all of these decisions. Let's make them better, or let's at least talk about how to make them better. So it wasn't. It was very. I don't know. I want to say like ethereal. So like kind of like looking out of like a spectral. I wasn't like myself. I don't know. That's a little cheesy, but you get it, right? It was more like outside looking in. It wasn't like how can I make myself better. Um,
Right.
it was a very high level look at let's make everything better. So, and that's kind of like I think just to sidebar a little bit of a life philosophy of I just am in a state of continuous improvement wherever it be, and you can't have continuous improvement if you don't have self responsibility and accountability. So those kind of just go hand in hand. I think that it's for anybody listening, who cares? It's a great leadership quality to like embody if you're looking to kind of improve in that aspect. I think being able to self criticize yourself and then move it on shows that you don't you have a very good situational awareness. So there's one and two. I just wanted to touch on that. Three, for the maturity aspect, I think a lot of people echo that sentiment of I've come a long way since my early beginnings. I don't know if you know Jonathan Milliman by chance? Milla,
I
as
believe.
he's downed.
Yeah. I.
Yeah,
I.
yeah.
I.
He was
Yeah.
an early teammate of mine when I was a freshman, and the very famous story that we always tell in the club is that him and I almost fought during a tournament one time because we were just tensions were flaring, and I was just this brash asshole to everybody when like competition was high and blood was boiling, right? And so Miller and I clashed, and Bryce Corey and I clashed all day in practice, all the time in practice. We just clashed, and I was very just, I don't know, foolish. And I think the internally the club more than externally people saw kind of like the maturity aspect as I came around to being less of a devoted competitor, hothead, to more of a calculated showboater. I think that's a good way to put it.
That
But
is an excellent way to put it, man.
but it just as more people began to like, I don't know, as my actions began to have more ramifications and waves in what I was doing, I took kind of a awareness to that and toned it such. So anyway, those are those. Conor McGregor. So to say, first of all, to say I formed my game or my life after Conor McGregor is not accurate, Shadid.
Fair.
I think,
That's fair.
yeah, Conor is just a personality which I think is positive in life. I just like his attitude towards things of absolute confidence, kind of preparation, kind of the ability to just flaunt it out and have some fun with it, right? I think that's something we need more of just like it's all in the name of a game, right? What you do and kind of like the antics and stuff like that, it's just part of the game. It's fun. Like have some fun with it. Don't take it so serious. Kind of play around, have that little back and forth. It makes everything more interesting and exciting, but it's also kind of like you're approaching these situations, no matter what it is, a fight or a dodgeball tournament or I don't know, your job, anything, right? With absolute confidence. And I think that confidence aspect is what an attribute that I most highly like esteem to and something that I hope to embody. And he embodies it at the highest level possible, right? So that was the natural attraction there. The Irish aspect kind of helped. A little bit of an Irish fan, and so that's kind of like why I I don't know, throw my allegiance to Conor. He's just my favorite athlete, and he embodies a lot of the things that I think more people should. He does it
That's
in a little extensive way. He crosses a line, as we've seen recently, right?
just a little bit.
I get 20 messages every time he does something. Like someone's like, "Did you see this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I fucking saw it." All right. So I don't want this to be a Connor interview. He just embodies characteristics that I think more people should.
Gotcha. So with that being said, it's safe to say that you embrace his personality as part of your persona, your alter. Yes, I see that. I was going to say, do you embrace his personality and as part of your alter ego when you're on the dodgeball court? Is that a
No,
fair
I
statement to make?
no, I think I embrace my own personality. I've always been that way. You can go
This
back to like T-ball, and I've just
this,
been kind of like the combative little talker, you know.
this
Go ahead.
you got a point there. You right. You
Yeah, I
right.
don't I don't think I embrace like, oh, how can I be more like Connor? I just think he's doing things that at a much higher level are similar than what I do, and I think it's very fun to watch. It's very
I
engaging
res-
for me. So, yeah.
I res- I respect that. I definitely do respect that. Um, yeah, another thing I really want to talk about was your last year in the league, where still to this day, I believe I
Single
know, man.
tier,
I know,
single
man.
tier.
I know. I mean, you at least you actually had the opportunity, to have closure within your career. Very sad that some of us would not be able to have closure this year
I
for
know that's
national.
crazy what happened this year.
I
I hate to
know,
see it.
I know, but but in 2018, you guys, had one of the most successful seasons, not only in
Hmm.
your history but also in the league, and you know, in your own words, just tell me just how like that whole journey from like, when you guys got started. I mean, knowing that you're going to be the captain to, the little incident that you might had against a particular team, to championship Sunday, nationals.
So, God, where do you start there?
You
I
can
guess
you
I'll
can
start
start
first. Go
you
ahead.
you can actually start by the so-called commentator saying like, oh, Central Bet's going to go beat GV, and then they actually beat GV several times during the year. You can actually
Oh yeah,
start you can
handedly,
actually you can
hand.
actually
Okay.
start there if you want.
So I think the narrative. I want to start the narrative going into that season was we were losing heavy hitting key players, right? Which we were. Um, I think to rattle off a few was Shane, Zach, Ian, Alex. I don't want to disrespect anybody by forgetting them because we lost a good amount. Um, sorry if I forgot your name, but I don't know. It's been so long. It feels like 10 years ago. But we lost I think six or seven key players, right? And the narrative going into it was Central's in a rebuilding year, which was so annoying. And they're going to struggle. Maybe they'll do fourth, fifth-ish. Yeah, Riley's taking over as captain, but like they've lost so much and they haven't recruited enough back, which was crazy. So I kind of took that as a fire of like, let's shock the world. I think shock the world is kind of like a little internal thing, and because the world watches dodgeball, as we know. So
This is true.
this is true, right? So anyway, that was kind of like a narrative going into it, and I think what happened inside the club is very hard to describe, and like everybody who was part of the club knows what I'm talking about. But it was the vision of what we were doing was so clear. Like our practices of how we were improving were so clear. Our game plan for tournaments was just so clear. We all knew what we were doing. It just seemed everything seemed to come together. And the thing that our heel was we only had 12 players. Only.
Wait,
Not a
what?
sub in sight. Not a sub in sight. We had like a handful of newer players that were there, but we literally only had 12 people. I think 10 returners, two new that made the roster. That's 10 to the best, I'm not sure. But we had a 12 player roster. That was it. Like, we didn't have any depth.
So
And I
like
didn't give
from
a about recruiting either.
so you mean like from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, it was just your solid 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
hmm
That's a whole
We
lot. That's different.
like after 12, like that 12 cutoff was insane. I won't say we didn't have anybody, but there was a very, very large drop off.
Oh,
I'll say that.
okay. Okay.
So, but going back into the season, which is the best season of my life. I love everybody on that team. Those boys, my boys for life. We all have a bond that can't be broken, right? I think that was a crazy special season. Definitely like the highlight of any sports team I've ever been a part of. But I think just kind of I keep seeing the word clarity, right? The clarity we all had of I don't know the trinity of leadership, right? Of me and then Grant and Briggy, of kind of where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do was just so I don't know. It was beautiful. It was like everyone understood. I don't want to be egotistical or selfish here, but like what I said goes, and there wasn't debate about it at the time. And I think that's a key thing that people miss. They're like, oh, it's dictatorship. It's like, no. That's a single authoritative voice driving strategy. We can talk about it later. That was my big thing. On the court, and I do this with Elite now with my Notorious team. On the court, when a decision's made, that's the decision. There's no, maybe this is better. Maybe that's better. Like, yeah, maybe it is, but don't worry about it. It's too late. We're in split seconds. We're in microtransactions of how the game is going to be decided. This is the call. Do the call. Afterwards, let's have a discussion about the call. Let's have a team discussion. I don't care. Like everyone can have input. I love input. Right? Input facilitates improvement. But on the court, there is no input. Right? My input is the input, and I think that style of leadership, at least from how we did it in the past, was fresh. I almost want to say fresh, and it provided a level of way we could scope and just focus on an insanely talented team and be almost assassin-like with our executions. And so whenever we did things, we did them with 100% certainty, or when it went right, which was often. So that was like the beautiful nature of how the team came together. We had 12 people, which I still think till this day is the best 12 dodgeball players on a team together. I'm absolutely adamant that I would take that 12 versus any 12 fresh. Fresh is super key because
Fresh is
we got
key.
tired. I'd take that 12 versus any 12 any day. That 12 was insane. We just had so much talent stacked, and it was focused, and we all knew what to do, and we all knew what the plan was and how to execute it. The strategy that we implemented, kind of the working the middle, that's where working the middle like started. Can you see my hands down here
Yeah.
or no up here?
Yeah. No,
Can
I
you
can
see them
see his
down
hands.
here?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool. So like the middle pressure of how it focuses and then draws attention, how we kind of like ebb and flow as almost a rubber band was beautiful. It was working unbelievably. and it continued to work until we weren't fresh and we didn't have. As soon as we lost that bit of spike and power, we dipped, as we saw in the egregious championship game.
Yeah, egregious is
But
definitely the word to say.
egregious, dude, egregious. But but I still think at fresh 12-on-12, I'll take them all day. Those boys will never lose. And yeah, I think just the aura of clarity is how I want to sum up the 2020 season. It was everyone was on the same page. There were no rifts. There was no kind of animosity or I think we could do it better or we could do this better or I wish he was doing it this way. It was I believe in this goal. I believe in this direction. I believe they believe in me and I believe in them. And it was just this absolute kind of parody of brotherhood of how to win a game. And everyone was on board with the level of dedication that I was. I think I said it, I kind of think in my Ball of the Month interview of I think my level of passion kind of disseminated among them. And I wanted to put in the extra work. I wanted to watch film. I wanted to do this. It's like, and it kind of like, it crept around to, let's all do it now, right? Um, I don't want to take credit for that. I just think that had an ambient effect. And it was just about, I love reminiscing about it. I could go, I don't want to drone on, so I'll end it there. But
No, you're totally fine, man.
yeah,
I definitely remember that season. Um, that was probably when you was like, within your college career, your absolute best,
I
and
agree. I agree.
and it wasn't even close. I mean, and you definitely had some really memorable moments throughout your career. But two things that really like stuck out to me was when you guys decided to do two tournaments back to back. I want to say either early.
Yes.
I want to say either like early October, so somewhere in like that October November time period. I think you guys hosted a tournament, and
No,
then
no idea.
y'all went to MSU, and then also when you guys had to play against JMU back to back Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
Though,
we got,
yeah, I know that Grand Valley's were like, oh yeah, we won a championship and everything. Me being an unbiased commentator, I'm like, listen, no disrespect to that team, y'all had an easier schedule in comparison to
cake,
CMU. Like,
cake.
I'm just saying. Now, I know some people gonna be upset, but I'm like, hey, the road for the Chippewas was a lot harder. That's all I'm gonna say.
We
Because any,
on that on that day, we did drop the ball very heavily on our first game. I even forget Penn State. That's what it was. It was a battle with Penn State. We gave away an early lead. We had to go all out to get it back. That first round was the most difficult first round I've ever played in all my dodgeball nationals. Right, all five. Um, so we expended a lot of energy in a 12-man roster. We didn't have energy to throw around like that. And then the next game was JMU, which got taken to overtime because we were we were messing around with the lead we had and not playing the dodgeball we wanted to. So we took, I think it was a 2-0 lead, and they came back to tie it up 2-2. I think that's how it happened, and it was a great game. It's probably one of my favorite games of all time to watch back. But we expended so much energy in trying to eliminate them, especially in the overtime. As we know, JMU is a bunch of hitters, right? Like they got just hitter after hitter after hitter of throwers and athletes, and we did not play correctly the second half, and we paid the price. We paid the ultimate price for it. We were all, I mean, even the Bowling Green game we played at semifinals, we were just dead. The whole game, I was thinking they're like, how are we going to beat GB? Like none of us are even throwing 60 miles an hour. I was like, this is like our top throwers are spent. I'm spent. Like my hand is in shambles. We were all burnt. I'm just looking around like we're burnt. And that game just dragged on. Hated that game, by the way. That was called a timeout with like 10 seconds left and like with 5 seconds left. Just that was wild. Um, we played poorly in the tournament. We played inefficiently. I won't say poorly. We played inefficiently, and I think that cost us the tournament for sure. Not saying we would have easily beat Grand Valley or anything like that, right? It still would have been an absolute battle, but I think that would have been an actual match instead of the slaughter that it was. We were just sheep, the sheep on the court lining up for slaughter. At that point, we were just broken.
Yeah, I definitely made a proposal within the captain page. We're like, hey, I think we need to at least reduce, you know, a game at nationals, and I'm glad that we finally got like the 16 top teams, which means
Hmm.
like now like there's less games for you to get to the championship round. I still believe we need to have just one, like two games on Saturday instead of three, because it's a lot better to see fresher athletes, play to the championship game than to saw, what we witnessed in 2018. Like to me, that was rough. That was
I'm
rough.
almost I'm almost a fan of no game. I am a fan, not almost. I'm a fan of no games on Saturday. I don't care about those games. Nobody cares about those games from a trying perspective, at least. The night before, I said like, look, don't try, right? Don't try. We already had the one seed. Um, let's just coast, get a point, and coast, because all we're thinking of is how can we be at 100% for tomorrow, on Saturday at least. So I don't like those games. I know it's like everyone's traveling, and there's the aspect of creating value out of the teams that travel and aren't going to make it, so they don't want to travel for one game. I
Right.
understand that. It's a great argument. I don't care about casual dodgeball. Um, I care about competing at the highest level and how can we facilitate the highest level being more competitive, and that's how. So whatever. I understand both sides of the coin. I don't have a good suggestion other than don't play those games.
That's a fair point. I feel like, you know, as the league evolved over the years, I feel like more people might be leaning towards that direction, or
I
at least
see the contrast is happening at least in USA dodgeball now, not elite, right? Of the
right.
competitive aspect is being minimalized, and the inclusive, all casual aspect is being blown up in order to grow the sport. And sure, it grows it temporarily, but it hinders it in the long run. But that's a subject I'll pause on because I'll go on for that for a minute.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that subject respectfully later
Yeah.
on within this broadcast. We don't want
All
unnecessary
right.
animosity towards our way.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll shelf it. I'll shelf it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, so yeah, you was telling me about your team with Notorious,
Hmm.
um, but before you decided to join them, and before you became the Mike Riley that we all know, I heard that you was on another team um,
Yeah. I was on Kraken.
called called Kraken,
Hmm.
and that was also a pretty solid squad too, because I remember it was you on that team and Kevin and Tyler, and even Paul and
Yeah.
dang,
So I think so. Paul, Tony,
yeah,
um,
Tony. There we go.
Connor, Wes was on the team when I joined. That's why I joined. Wes recruited me to join there. Um, what's that? Is Paul, Tony, Wes, Connor, me, Brandon was on it for a little bit. I
Yeah.
recruited Brandon in. It had some flexibility a couple years. Tyler was there for a sec for a couple rounds.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and
I'm
and
I'm
even
forgetting.
Colin, Colin O'Brien,
Yeah,
was
he
he?
was
Did he?
he was on it before I joined. I joined the year he left.
Okay.
Um, I always joke about him with that. That's when he joined the Dynasty crew. Um, I know I'm forgetting somebody. I don't know. Sorry, person. But yeah, I joined. So Wes was already playing elites, and um, we put together kind of like a, I don't know, a ragtag team one time. McCarthy was on it. Mike McCarthy was on our team one time. We
Was
had
he what?
we had I think, yeah, he was.
Oh
And then
wow.
we had my boy, uh, whose name I can't remember. I'm so bad with names. Who's um who's my favorite left-hander slash right-hander slash both-hander from Kent State that I can't remember? Sorry, my friend.
Oh, are you talking about Cam Fullington?
Yeah, so we had Cam. We had Cam on that team for this round. We had like a one-round
What?
ragtag team, yeah, that we just put together. Cam was drunk off his ass the entire round. This is a fun story. I'm gonna share it. Sorry, Cam. We were going to do the tournament at like 9 a.m. and Cam had like a fifth of, I don't know, rum. It was something straight, and we had a 30-minute drive to the gym. The entire fifth was gone in the car ride there. He drank the whole fifth in a half-hour car ride. He was fucking plastered for the tournament. He was just he was falling around, and I was so mad at him.
Oh
It was
my God.
unbelievable. Anyway, that was my first team, and then I was brought into Kraken and played with Kraken for 2 years, and then obviously I kind of talked with Wes, and I was like, "Hey, man, I think this is a good opportunity for us to start our own." Um, Wes is very much my co-captain, my co-captain. He's a co-captain with me on Notorious. Or as I like to say, president. Uh, and it was very much a joint decision that, hey, let's break off of Kraken here, which I love, especially with Paul. I almost learned a lot of elite from him, of just the strategies. Paul is an exchange strategist, and I learned a lot of the elite game from him, and I carry that forward. So thank you, Paul. But yeah, Wes and I just talked about it, and we're like, well, I think this is a good time for us to break out and make kind of our own squad of my most of my team that came from Central, right? We have, you guys know maybe you don't know who Notorious is, right? So but it's basically all Central players, and then we have a little bit of a Saginaw dipping in there with Nick and Kyle.
Hey,
So
there's nothing wrong with Nick and Kyle though, man. I mean, if you're gonna
it's
have,
my boys. We talking about nothing
yeah,
wrong with them. There's
yeah,
something
if you're
right
gonna
with them.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. But no, we just had that discussion. We're like, I think it's a good idea. Like, yeah, we're gonna suffer as a new team, maybe the first year, with the kind of the nuances of elite. It's very strange. I stepped out like 35 times my first time playing. Like, it's very, very hard to adapt. But we were ready to take that sacrifice. But it was a long discussion. Fun fact: Brandon was supposed to come with us. The discussion between me, Wes, and Brandon. I was like, "We're starting this thing," and he said yes. And then he backed out in the end and wanted to stay loyal to Kraken. We all know where he is now.
Yeah,
He's with Dynasty now, but that was
yeah,
inevitable, so it's fine. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of like my elite history there, USA Dodgeball history, whatever.
yeah. I definitely know. Like starting off in the league, there's definitely like the learning curve of the boundaries, as well as knowing how to throw like an open throw with an 8.5. Very different
Mhm.
from pinching. Um,
Mhm.
One thing I definitely want to point out, because I know that again, people look at Pence kind of like as a very, very violent, very barbaric way of doing things. And me personally, I get a little. No, I'm not going to say a little. I get very upset, when people say that, because I'm like, hey, there's a lot of strategy that's being involved when it comes to doing some of these throws. There's a lot of thought process. There's a lot of internal stuff that you have to do to order to successfully do a pinch throw. It's not just no simple. We're just going to go back and forth, just be throwing dodgeball. There's a strategic aspect to it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. People
uh,
don't like it because it requires a little more skill to do, right? And so it's a bigger barrier to entry to the sport. So people don't like to do it because people don't like to learn new things. And yeah, it's harder to do, and it comes faster, so it's even more difficult to learn because you're in an environment that doesn't facilitate learning, right? You're in an environment that facilitates killing, and it's not a friendly thing to learn, but it's a sport. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's
right.
just it's a narrative of like, let's make it all happy and fun and sunshine instead of let's make it competitive and the best we can be and stuff like that. So it a poor comparison is like throwing a baseball without laces. It's like, sure, you could take
Oof.
the laces off a baseball and you wouldn't be able to curve it, you wouldn't be able to do these things, or put the laces on a baseball. It's harder to learn, it's harder to throw, it's harder to hit, but it's more fun because you can do more things. Um,
Yeah.
I like that comparison. I just made it up, but I think it's apt. I mean, it's another way to play the game. You don't have to pinch if you don't want to, but I don't think it should be condemned because it's difficult.
Yeah, and another thing I also want to point out to the audience who are not really too familiar about Penn dodgeball. A lot of us who went to college, like yourself and I, um, there's a learning process to Penn. There's a development process, not only as a player but as a
Oh yeah.
person. I, I
Hmm.
I honestly believe that a lot of the issues that we deal with in life, we kind of just look at like, I know that's an inconvenient, but not a big deal. And a lot of that's really because of pinch. I'll give you an example. So
Mm-hmm.
there's times that you might be like on a 1 versus 6 situation, or 1 versus 12, or
Mm-hmm.
4 people left in the game. You're always going to be dealing with stressful situations no matter what. But at least playing Penn to the NCDA, it kind of force you to be like, okay, I see the problem, I see the situation. How do I going to make the best out of it? And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's very applicable to life. There's times, life is a little bit unfair, or, we get, cars that we're not really too fond of. But instead of just saying to ourselves like, oh man, like this really sucks, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, I understand it sucks, but what we can do about it. And I feel like there's a lot of times that you and I, we can probably look back in our career, and we may have realized or may have not realized, directly or indirectly, some of those things that we learned on the court, we do apply it off the court, and
Sure.
so many different ways. And that's really the thing that I appreciate about Pench and the NCDA, is those life lesson skills. As you was talking about earlier, leadership, um, having people working together as a unit, having a clear mind towards a single goal. There's a lot of relationships that have to be built, in order for a group to be successful. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy your team, Notorious, because unlike other teams in Elite, well, not Elite, USA Dodgeball, but unlike
Mm-hmm.
other teams, your team don't really have a lot of change in terms of, well, I want to go off and do my own thing. I don't want to be on your team. Like, your group is
Well,
very, oh,
we had a little shakeup
a
last
little
nationals. I don't
a
know if
little
you
shake
heard.
up.
Yeah.
Oh no, oh I didn't
Uh,
know that.
yeah. So, boy, um, to air out some dirty laundry, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh
It's
Lord
it's great
Jesus.
practice, but so Shane and Zach were on Notorious for a while. I used in the past tense there, if you might recognize. There was a
Yeah, I see that.
we had a disagreement, and yeah, so like I don't know, probably like 2 3 weeks before nationals of elite, we just came to the mutual decision that it would be best if they weren't on the team anymore. And so yeah, Shane and Zach are no longer on the team. I'm no longer invited to their wedding. and
Okay.
and that just is what it is. And no hard feelings to them. It was a business decision. Slight.
Business.
It's a business decision, and slightly driven by emotion at the time, but a decision that I was thinking about in totality to begin with. So it definitely was poured on with accelerant with how it came to be, but yeah, it's happened. So in terms of there aren't other people doing other things, sure there was, right? But I do echo everything you just said about kind of the sports. I don't know, correlations between life and sport, right? I think that's a very strong thing people either don't realize or don't put enough value on. Is there's a lot of things that are embodying um, going about playing a sport that you can then convey into real life, as we'll call it.
Yeah,
So I agree with you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, couldn't not say any better myself, man. Um,
Oh, on sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Steve, but it acts as a kind of a add on to what I just said. So we lost 2 people, right? As I just
right,
mentioned. We also gained
right.
2 people. So I'll leave one. Nah, I'll just say it. So Tom Moran is joining Notorious at the end of this season. Yeah, I know. It's cool. Good lad.
Wow,
Yeah, so we're
wow.
picking up Tom Moran, and then this will act as a reveal, I suppose, since no one outside of our team really knows. But we also pick up Nick Watson, who was a player on Central Michigan, if you remember. He was like kind of like our hype guy, our talk guy, really. Um, cannon of an arm, great hands, absolute asset that I'm excited to play with. So those are our 2 pickups for Notorious to make our 8.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
um, that's gonna be a scary team.
I'm excited. I'm very. If the season ever happens, my God. But
I know, man. I know. It's just so much weird stuff happening right now.
mhm.
It's been tough. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Or
I'm not gonna go ahead and tell you my sad story because I don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. It's been tough for all of us.
yep.
I feel like life would be a lot better. Once we can get sports back on television, we can get back playing dodgeball.
I don't even care about that. Yeah, just give me dodgeball.
He
I don't
just
even care
won
about that.
he just won dodgeball. A man after
Yep.
my own heart, man.
That's right.
Oh my god. We're getting really close to the hour mark.
hmm
I'm pretty sure we can talk more, but I just want to be very respectful of your time because I know you got other things you.
I'm
Oh,
good. Whenever you want to stop it, it's fine with me. Whenever you want to, I'll talk forever, man. So I can
all
talk
right,
dodgeball for literally hours, man.
all right. That's totally cool, man. I have no
hmm
problem with that. Um, one thing I will say though is, are you officially or unofficially like the coach for CMU now, or are you kind of like more like the hype guy, that kind of like rally up the troops?
I think I would be more in a coaching aspect. So when we say unofficially or officially, right? I guess it's in an unofficial capacity, but I act with official authority. In terms of I go to hype up. Obviously, that is a aspect before games that I enjoy doing for the lads. I mean, there's only a few of them that were there during my time. Shout out Kyle Gungarner. That's my boy right there. But I think I enjoy being around all the team and the current members. So I act as kind of hype before, but then also um, strategy and decision making and just any input I can give that I think would provide value amongst. I mean, they are well capable dodgeball players in their own right, so they don't need me to guide all their decisions. Right, I don't want to cascade that information, but if I just see something that's kind of a nuance of information or something like that, I'll just chime in and be like, hey, let's maybe attack this a little bit, or let's push up and down a little bit, or let's kind of attack the line or hold the line. Let's work on ball control here in the last minute where we can, or I'll call a timeout where I see like a specific play maybe has value. Um, Things like that is kind of the capacity I act in. And I don't act in it because they're my friends on the team, right? And they're my boys, but more so like this the club of Central Michigan Dodgeball is just something I want to see winning, and I'll always want to see winning. So if there's a tournament around here, I'm going to it. That's kind of like my thing. If it's in Michigan, I'll be there if I can.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
I think more
what are
alumni
like
should echo that. Shame on you all.
facts? These are
Shame on
nothing
them.
but facts.
Yeah.
This is facts, not opinions.
Shout out to
Just straight.
Bailey and Fedig and Ushadid and everybody who continues to run the sport as you've left and show homage of where you came from. We should have more people like us. We don't get enough credit for it. I don't do that. I don't want to group myself with you guys. I don't do anything from a professional point, but you guys do, and you guys don't get enough credit where you should in a shout out perspective. So shout out.
Well, I mean, from one go to another, I appreciate the kind words. I want folks to know that the NCDA is a legitimate league that do produce high quality players that are very successful on and off the court. I really want folks to understand that. I know that
Tony
some
Stumpo.
people. Oh yeah, yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah,
didn't want to forget him. Voice of dodgeball.
yeah. Oh, you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that.
Sorry,
Some
Shadid.
folks want. No, no, no. It's fine. I'll get over it. We'll just have a private conversation about this off the air. No,
Uh,
no, but
I'm just
in
playing
all
around.
seriousness, oh, I know, man. I know. Some folks not so much, but no, but yeah, no. But the most important thing is really just to try to promote the sport of dodgeball.
hmm
Um, my personal opinion pens, but again, that's no. I'm just one guy. Just
My dream. You
have
want
a.
to hear my dream, Shadid? My dream is beautiful. My
All right,
dream is to
I'm
one
ready.
day. This is this is
This
so
is gonna be
stupid.
good. This is
This
gonna
is
be
so
good.
stupid. This will be the highlight of the interview. My dream one day is to match with the girl on whatever dating insert dating app and tell her I play dodgeball and it's not a question of what the hell is that.
You know what? I'm going to make a mental note of that. Since you say that's going to be let's see, we're
Oh,
at
beautiful.
the 59, 50, 40 mark. Yep, I'm going to take that. I'm going to use that as a promo part of my video. Yeah, we will get a time where folks be like,
That's
oh,
fantastic.
Dodgeball. Yeah, I know that. Not from the movie, but
Exactly.
from the videos. Yeah.
God, if one more person asks me if I've seen the movie, I'm gonna freak out. It's like, yeah, I've seen the
Big.
movie.
That movie had probably have done more harm than good, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, the CMU player is a little bit better than me. I did have the opportunity to
Hmm.
see them several times this year, and I see them improving. What are some of the standout players that you know that really kind of like caught your attention, as a player on the court?
We talking about the ones that are there now, or just like in life?
The ones that are currently there now.
I think the two, not two. I don't want to say two. I'll just name some big hitters. So obviously we got my boy Kyle, the Gun Garner,
Of
who
course.
is the number one hype player on the court, Mister Hands himself, regardless of his name. He's got hands. He's a phenomenal player. Definitely runs on like a hot streak. So when he gets going, he's very hard to stop and very fun to watch. Very hard to calm down as well. When I want him to be a little more calculated. So if you're watching this, Kyle, relax. And then I think Eric Nelson. I think Eric Nelson has done a fantastic job in kind of stepping up here and um, exhibiting not only leadership but a primary role in getting people out and acting as a primary killer. And then, shoot, I'm gonna forget this man's name. I'm so bad with names. He's wicked good. Um,
Is it number 85?
I'm worse with numbers.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
I
I'm
I
trying to help you
donned
out.
him the Weatherman nickname, but I
Oh,
forget.
you talking about Doug Daniel.
Doug Daniels. There we go. Weatherman Doug Daniels. Meteorologist Doug Daniels that kid's phenomenal. That kid is absolutely phenomenal. Um, I have no idea what year he is. I think he's a junior, but he's graduating early. I don't know. Some rumors around that I have no idea. But if he has another year, might be one of the best players in the league. He's a phenomenal player. Um, so that'll be. Also, there's Jawanza, who is quickly adapting to be an insanely defensive, outstanding player. Um,
Yeah.
running a little bit of mid pressure there. Jared Brown is also really good in transition. Um, he has a very quick release with an unusually, or not unusually, but a surprisingly quick rundown of
Yeah.
kind of like those snaps, right? So those players, I think, are the top of the ones on my mind of standouts for the current CMU team.
Yeah. Those two players, they got some really solid footwork. I mean, my goodness. I
Hmm.
mean, 1 minute they're flat
They get
footed,
lazy
next
though.
day.
They get lazy. Don't hype them up too much. Y'all lazy. Don't think I'm not watching. I think I'm not watching. Don't hear these
Oh,
and be like, yeah, we're doing right. You could be doing better. Let's get it together.
oh my
We win the
God.
championships out here. We go into the
Oh,
ship. Chips go to the ship,
oh,
and it's not going to get it done unless we get it together.
oh my God. Wow. Whew. Oh man. One minute I'm about to sing the praises. Mike's like, wait a minute now.
Nope.
We got to keep 100.
I'm gonna stop you right there. So I don't want to get them too full of themselves.
Too full of stuff.
Yeah.
you know, that's one of the reasons why I do like alumni spending time with their current team, because there's again like that outward greater than life perspective. It's like, hey, like I
Mhm.
appreciate what y'all doing. I see y'all putting in good work. There are some things we do need to improve upon. I'm not gonna like kick you. Like I will acknowledge like y'all doing well, but we got some more things we need to work on. Kind of keep
Yeah.
that that humbleness.
It's like a yes and is kind of something I've picked up in my professional career of like, hey, we're doing this good. So yes, and let's do this thing, right?
Good. This is good advice. I'm actually learning something. Who would have known that I would have learned something from Mike? But That just
It's
shows
like,
you
hey,
the
what's that supposed to mean?
I'm just messing with you, man.
But no,
Yeah,
it's like the
that
yes and narrative is it's much better than but, right? Just in terms of like a social perspective of how humans pick up information. So when you say but, it automatically connotates like a negative aspect. Where if you say and, it assimilates it with a positive. You're already doing something great. Let's build off it. So yes and
that's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
I would definitely take that under serious considerations. I would definitely do that. Um, wow, I actually lost my train of thought for a second. That's
Sorry
random.
about that. Didn't mean to blow your mind.
No. It's fine. It's just it won't be the first time I lose my train of thought. I mean, but it's whatever. Um, yeah, hopefully we'll get playing real soon. I know they just posted the remaining dates of the rounds.
Hmm.
Um, hopefully, when everything kind of just dies down, I might be able to at least go out to the North rounds, kind of like as a kind of more as a spectator, not as a player, but more as a spectator. Kind of just appreciate what's taking place or whatnot.
So we'd love to have you, man.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the North has been treating me very well. I'm not gonna lie. Lots of good people up there. Competition is always good, but yeah, the North region has been very kind to your boy. So much appreciated that.
If you
Um,
ask nicely, we'll let you hold the medal after we win it.
Jesus, dude, you got to at least win it first. You got
Shoot.
you, you know
Shoot.
what you know what
Notorious is
you
coming
know
in
what.
healthy and on a tip this season if we ever are allowed to play. It's over. It's just over.
So speaking of healthy,
Hmm.
your co-captain,
He'll
Peters. I
be
know
healthy. By the time we're allowed to play, he'll be healthy.
he'll be
His
healthy.
recovery
Okay.
his recovery is way ahead of schedule. He's already throwing. He's feeling great. I get constant updates from him. By the time we're allowed to play again, we'll be fine. We'll be sitting pretty.
All right, fine. So I don't have not one but two bodybuilders on the team. All right, good to know. Good
You
to
know
know.
that's right.
Jesus, I remember a story. I think it had to be when you all play against each other when he was with Michigan State, and
Hmm.
you were still with Central Michigan. It was at Bowling Green, and I know you guys beat him in the Final Four. Um, and I remember like I was just sore because I was playing in Saginaw the round of 16. I was sore,
Hmm.
and my man West flat out said like, um, "Yeah, I understand that we lost and everything, but I'm going to the gym." And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, you mean like within less than 24 hours, you're in the gym lifting weights? It's like, yeah. Because
That's
how else am
not
I supposed to get?
that's not an activity I echo. After a tournament, I'm incapacitated for like 2 weeks.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying. Body sore, neck sore, back sore,
my
leg
shoulder
sore.
can't move.
Right.
Being held
Shoulder
together
is
by strings and pills. It's like that's just not an option.
right. So this whole like, oh yeah, dude, like, I gotta, put in this good work at the gym. I'm like, bro, like, I can barely walk. You talk about lifting weights. I'm trying to go to the sauna. I'm trying to recover.
Tell him to
But
try harder in the tournament. If he had that much energy, he should have been trying harder.
oh,
I put it all on the
God.
line. My body's destroyed afterwards.
Oh my God. Woo. Woo,
Leave
man.
no stone unturned.
I'm pretty sure y'all gonna have a nice
Nah,
conversation about that.
that's the brother for life out there.
Oh, I know, man. I know. It's y'all friendship is definitely so much better than Twilight, man. I mean, so much better. Cause
It's an interesting comparison. We'll take it.
I dude, like I'd rather just follow y'all friendship for life than to even remotely watch 5 minutes of Twilight. Cause that is just an abomination of a movie. First of all,
Follow our
whoever's like,
friendship at Michael.Riley94 on IG. What we deal though.
say less, say
Subtle plug.
say less. You guys know his Instagram account. Now you can follow
Hmm.
him and get to the best shape of your life.
I'm not gonna help you do
Still,
that, but You can like my pictures.
Oh my God, this guy is a savage. This guy is a savage. I know the last
hmm
time that y'all had a North round, I want to say Chicago of last year, you guys won open, won first place if I remember correctly.
I don't even know.
You
The
don't
crazy
even.
thing, I have such bad memory of dodgeball tournaments. I've just been, I don't know. It's like as soon as it happens, it's gone. Like I don't remember any of it, except for 2018 nationals. But you could be like, oh yeah, last year, like Wes is really good at it. He'd be like, yeah, round two, we played this team, and this team, and won, or we lost to this team, 3-2, and I'd be like, dude, I don't even remember going. I don't even know when that happened. I just, and the crazy thing is like I have watched all of our rounds. We film our games on Notorious. I have watched all of our film. I don't know, each video maybe 4 or 5 times. I watch an obsessive amount of film. It is, and I'll like stop and start it, stop and start it, stop, and just watch sequences over and over and over again. I have a very unhealthy relationship with dodgeball, and it's crazy that I've watched these games over and over and over, but I have no idea of like where they happened in terms of the tournament setting. Could have been last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It could have been in the playoffs, and like I just have a very poor ability to connect those. So couldn't tell you.
Well, they do say that the greats have short-term memory, and
I'll take it.
this is this is helpful when you need to forget about things you need to forget about, and just keep it
Oh yeah.
moving. So that's not really a bad strategy. But yeah, I guess one of my last questions.
hmm
Um, what are some of the things that you think um, Central Michigan need to do moving forward? Assuming we don't have nationals this year,
hmm
what are some advice you want to give to the current players of the team and what they need to work on?
So I think my first bit of advice would be hypocritical and need to recruit. Um, I'm nowhere near the person to point the finger at that, but it is an essential part of growing the club, obviously. So recruit, guys. All right, next at a at a level I can relate to, I think the strategy decision making needs to be improved. I think right now the current Central Michigan team rides a lot of hype, so either they're hot or they're cold. And when people are making catches and making big plays and big outs, it's like the world's on fire and nothing can be stopped, right? So it's like the chips are running it down. But then once that momentum switches, it becomes a vastly different game of we're not sure how to bring it back in our favor, right? So the hot and cold aspect is very bad because you lose the consistency aspect in order to perform in tournaments. Um, so, and I think that it's one of the narratives that's the hardest to criticize because when things are going right, it's very difficult to tell somebody to do this differently. Um, and that is like the biggest thing I struggle with as a leader is even now, if a throw happens or a position error happens and it's wrong, or at least in my opinion, it's wrong, therefore making it wrong. Um, it's hard to kind of correct it and attack it when it goes right. So if like a really easy example is if you throw and you hit them right in the stomach, but they drop it, it's like yeah, but I got them out. It's like yeah, but it was a terrible idea, right? It was very poor execution. Or if it's like you left yourself out to dry, you left the team out to dry, but they got a catch. It's like yeah, but they got a catch. So it's like that narrative of let's look past the play and look at the overarching strategy of how to improve. Um, I think is something they could look at a little better. So let's take the individual aspect of whether it went right or whether it went wrong and look at how should it go all of the time. Um, that's something I would like them to do. So I think the overall strategy, and that'd be my number one thing, the overall strategy of decision making should be revisited and really understood. Understood is a heavy word because I think it's when can you quantify you understand something of strategy level. So that's hard, and I'm be glad to be in any of the discussions around it, right? Whether it's this team or going forward into future teams, but I think there's an element there of let's not just play off the momentum. Let's be able to bring it back and forth and regain the momentum or play to a disadvantage. I think the biggest weakness right now is playing to the disadvantage, and let's talk about how we can turn those tables.
Yeah, and just to speak upon that, I know that Central Michigan, it's a fairly young team. I know that they lost from the previous year two great players within their own right.
Hmm.
Casey and Austin, also your boy, also another goat. Um,
Hmm.
but I would say that
Fun, controversial thing. Sorry to cut you off, Sheeb, but I want you to move past it. Um, Not a dig at Briggy, aka Austin, as you're calling him, but I think Briggy's best year was his year as assistant captain underneath me. I think that's when we saw
oh
the best version of Austin Briggy, and I'll say why. And I think
okay
I've had a conversation with people about this, and they generally agree. Um, is so when Austin was captain, a lot was riding on him to one, run
yeah
the middle, two, make strategy decisions, and three, not get out. Um, so when you couple those things together, it prevented him from playing the game. I want to say, um, in terms of he couldn't take big throws, he was very hindered on his throws. Right, he always had to have a ball, so he's very hindered on his throws. Being in the middle, you're always a target, so you always have to have a ball, and therefore be defensive minded. He was very good at drop catching, and he couldn't risk doing it. The I think doubt kind of seeped in there of if I don't catch this, it's over. Um, it was a very heavy impact of when he was on and off the court. So I think when he was assistant captain in 2018, he had a lot of talent spread out, right? And not a lot of responsibility to handle in terms of decision making. It was just be a killer and just be an athlete that you are. So he was just destroying people with his throw. He was great at drop catch. He was insane at pressure. He was an absolute stud. And I think once the transition to middle happened in captainship and we lost a lot of power, he lost that ability to play freely, and it severely negatively impacted his game, just in terms of a performance measure. Not that he got worse, but he was kind of pigeonholed to not perform the way he wanted to. Um, and I talked to him about this on a few different occasions, but I mean, it was what it was, right? It was kind of the situation of the team and what he thought would do, and it was a hard mindset to change. So yeah, I think 2018 Briggy was the best Briggy we ever saw, at least in terms of NCDA.
wow
Yeah,
that's well that's
honest
saying that's
analysis right there.
yeah, I mean, again, it's your candidness and your honesty is. I wish more people, would have that level of transparency. It would definitely make life a lot easier for a lot of people. Um, I mean, I just remember just seeing us, Briggy in person in 2019, and I mean, obviously, you know this extremely well, but I mean, he's just a beast. I mean, there's just no other way of saying
Yeah, he
it.
is.
I mean, my man is just out here just wrecking people, folding them like clean laundry, and sending them back to the bench where they belong. I mean, my
He's a
man,
stud. He's a stud.
yeah, yeah, my man did not care
Hmm.
whatsoever. And I know Casey, um, really good friends with him. Was it's funny like how quickly you can make friends within the NCDA even with very few
Hmm.
interactions. But
Right.
yeah, I just kind of I respect his game because I see him as like a really really smart strategist that really just
Hmm.
put himself in really good situations and really just make really good decisions,
I'm gonna touch
which is very
on Casey real quick. So Casey, um, I think he was the MVP of 2019 for Central Michigan at nationals. So I think throughout the national tourney, Casey was their best player for sure, especially in their final game. Casey was putting on a clinic of sniping people. It was insane. Um, he was like playing to the side that I was coaching on, and he just kept giving people hit, and I was just blown away. So I think he was absolutely the most valuable player throughout the national tournament. I think Casey's big weakness, and I've said this too much times, is he has the tendency to kind of get lazy at sometimes, or just to kind of disconnect from the game. And whether it be in like a burn ball that's kind of lazily thrown or just not paying attention or this, that, or the other, right? There's a tendency to kind of just switch off a little bit. And I think that's his biggest weakness, from being like an absolute stud.
Yeah, tough criticism to say. However, like I said, you understand the team a lot better than me, so I'm just going to just take your advice and kind of just roll with it. Just makes me look more credible. I actually know what I'm talking about, even though I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's just my
That's
opinion, right? So I'm glad if I'm happy if people want to like contrast it and debate it or have their own, right? That's just my perspective of what I see and my experience on it.
I mean, to be fair, I wasn't really like a commentator, like quote unquote, full time until this year. So
Hmm.
I can only, I can only go by what I've seen. And to be fair, I wasn't doing commentating for the Central Michigan game. That was just more just being a fan. Um,
Hmm.
hashtag Team Dad, but obviously not for CMU for VCU. But
Hmm.
just being a fan, just watching. I'm just like, oh wow, like I see why folks were so high of Central Michigan, and I see like how they can still keep the streak going. So it was
Hmm.
cool to see that in person. Also, shout out to GV. Y'all got a beautiful gem. Hey, I haven't been to
Man,
Central Michigan. Well,
you
dude,
better get that
relax.
GV talk out of this interview.
Dude, dude,
We don't speak that team around here.
dude, relax. I'm talking about their gym, their facility, man. Dude,
Oh,
relax. I have
fun. So remember, I don't know what tournament it was. Last year, this year, last year, doesn't matter. Whenever I was coaching, I went in. Yeah, it was this year.
Yeah, it was.
I went in and played right for a little while,
Yeah,
because they
at
were
GV.
down at GV. They were down
Yeah.
6-0 or something like that. And then Kevin was commentating it, and he goes, "Oh, Michael Riley has just entered the court, because we forfeited, and there's only like 5 minutes left." And he goes, "Fun fact: the last time Michael Riley was on the court, it was also down 6-0 to GV." I was like, "Oh my god, that was brutal." That's one of the best jokes I've heard
Jesus.
against me in a long time. That was phenomenal.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, I
Lord.
know.
Jesus.
Cold blooded.
Hopefully, hopefully sometime next season when CMU has a tournament, I'll be able to, travel to Mount Pleasant,
Oh
Michigan,
yeah.
and get to see, where y'all play dodgeball at, um, and all that fun stuff.
Hmm. We'd love to
You
have
know,
you.
get to see the facilities and whatnot. Um, y'all got like a really, like a nice gym or whatnot.
It's all right. I mean, the problem is I've seen a lot of like insane gyms, right? So it's hard to compare it. But I would say it's a good gym. It pales in comparison to some of the big colleges we went to. But yeah, it's generally nice.
All right, that's fair. I mean, that's fair. I
Yeah.
mean, because I think like at least at the gym that y'all usually have like tournaments, like you guys don't have like the back wall issue,
Hmm.
or I may be wrong. So
There's a little bit of distance to the back wall. So while
okay,
it's there, it's not like right behind you. There's probably a good 10 feet there in the gym we play. So.
good.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I'm just going to say this right now. Like this whole wall ball action, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Kind of dilute the game a bit. Kind of take away the athletic abilities and the strategic factor. It's more like, hey, throw the
Hmm.
ball, get the ball back. Kind of like a boring way of dodgeball. Not a slight against anybody
Hmm.
who
I agree.
utilize wall ball, but
Like those people.
personally,
What?
what?
I said slight those people. What? If you're gonna
No,
use it and you don't like it, then slight the people who are doing it.
no, man. See, that's not what I'm here for, man. I'm here
Not
for.
everybody can be friends, man. Sometimes you gotta
Listen,
have enemies.
listen, man. I've made plenty of enemies in the past as a player. I'm a commentator now. I gotta have good relationships with people if I'm gonna keep on having the opportunity to go inside their facilities. I can't have folks
All
having
right. Yeah.
animosity towards me and I'm trying to do live streaming. That's just not how it works. All right.
I'll say it for you then.
I mean, fine. As they say on Instagram, it is what it is.
They say
It
it
is
don't be
what
like
it
it
is.
is, but it do.
Again, facts. All I see is facts right now. But hopefully, this whole quarantine issue will go away at least for the next month or so, and we can get back to playing dodgeball and actually doing fun activities instead of staring at our computers all day and all that fun stuff.
I'll do that anyway.
Options.
Life
Dude,
of a gamer,
options.
my man.
With that being said, Mike, I just want to say thank you, taking time out of your busy day, doing this broadcast with me. Any last words you want to, let the folks know what's good, all that good stuff?
I appreciate you having me, man. I'm always down to talk dodgeball anytime you want to. You just call me up, we can chat. But I appreciate you kind of letting me reminisce about good times as well as giving me a platform to open up on a perspective. It's always nice to kind of talk dodgeball with someone who understands it and have a nice discussion there. So my closing words. Oof, a lot of pressure. I think I would just be very grateful for all the time I've spent at dodgeball, and kind of not only the impact I've had on the club, but also other people and teammates and the friends I've made and the bonds I've formed is lifelong. And I will always be grateful for the sport and for everyone in it, of just everything that I've come and gained from it. So to Notorious, obviously we're going to take it all and we're going to keep doing our thing. To the current Central Michigan team and future, heed my words. Don't get comfy. Don't get complacent. Believe in one each other. Find out a goal and just chase it together. So fire up, Chips.
Well, you heard it here, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Probably in his opinion, and probably in the opinions of those who know what they're talking about, the number 2 player in the rankings of the 2010 decade, Michael O'Reilly. Sir, thank you.
That's
Thank you so
accurate.
much for this.
Thank you, Shadid. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.